You paste a free Telegram proxy link from a channel, tap connect, and it just works. No sign up, no payment, no setup, and suddenly your traffic is flowing again. It feels like a gift, and that is exactly the moment to be careful. A proxy is a machine that every byte of your Telegram traffic passes through, and someone set that machine up and pays to keep it running. When something like that is handed to you for nothing, it is worth asking what the person on the other end gets in return. Free proxies are rarely free in the way they look. Isfirani betidam, hitit and pitansan, ishuran siditi, Guasinidian Pawarin, Hisami Vincinatani with Tidin Kamen, Hinami Bichipidigin. I set them up, I watch what flows through them, and I know precisely what the operator of a proxy can and cannot see, because from my seat I can see it. That is not me trying to scare you, it is the opposite. I want to explain the mechanism plainly so that you can decide for yourself what is fine to route through a stranger and what absolutely is not. Here is the plan, what a proxy actually is, at its core. The good news about what the operator cannot read, the uncomfortable news about what they can see anyway. Why free public proxies exist at all, and who is really paying for them. The specific tricks a shady one can pull, from injecting channels to sharing an IP with abusers, how to tell a risky proxy from a trustworthy one. And finally, the honest scope, because not every free proxy is a trap, and the goal is to match your trust to what is actually at stake. Start with what a proxy really is, because the picture is simpler than the jargon suggests. A proxy is a middleman. Your Telegram app does not talk to Telegram directly. It talks to the proxy, and the proxy talks to Telegram on your behalf. Every message you send, every code you receive, every file, every login, all of it travels through that one machine in the middle. So the entire question of whether a proxy is safe comes down to a single thing, which is who owns the middleman and what they choose to do with everything that passes through it. That's famous. Now the good news, and it is genuinely good. Telegram traffic is encrypted between your app and Telegram's own servers, so the proxy in the middle cannot read the contents of your messages. It sees an encrypted stream that it is only forwarding along. This is the fact that makes people relax, and it is true. The operator of a free proxy is not reading your chats word for word. Unfortunately, that is where most people stop thinking, and that comfortable half of the truth is exactly what hides the other half. Here is what the operator can see, encryption or not, your real IP address. A proxy has to know where you connected from, because it needs somewhere to send the replies back to. So the moment you connect, the machine in the middle learns the address you are sitting behind, your rough location, and the exact time you showed up. You have handed your home or office IP to a complete stranger who owes you nothing. For a lot of people, the whole reason to use a proxy was to protect that address, and the free one quietly collects it instead. Beyond your address, the operator sees the shape of your activity. When you are online and when you are not, how much traffic you push, the timing and rhythm of your usage, which region of Telegram you reach for. None of that is the content of your messages, but all of it is a detailed log of your behavior tied directly to your real IP. Given enough of it, patterns emerge, and patterns are exactly what someone building a profile wants. Metadata feels harmless right up until it is assembled into a picture of you. So ask the obvious question, why does a free public proxy exist at all? Running a server, paying for the bandwidth of thousands of strangers, and keeping it online is not free for the person doing it. Nobody absorbs that cost forever out of pure kindness at scale. Someone is paying, which means someone expects something back. Sometimes it is harmless, a hobbyist or a group running one as a genuine public service. Often it is not, and the return they collect is your data, your attention, or your IP added to a list. Free means you are not the customer, you are the inventory. One of the most common tricks is built right into the proxy feature itself. An mtproto proxy is allowed to promote a channel, a sponsored channel that appears pinned at the top of your chat list for as long as you use that proxy. For a legitimate operator, this is a normal way to run one. For a shady free proxy, it is a loudspeaker pointed straight at you. They can push whatever they want in front of your eyes. Spam, scams, dubious investment channels, and you never subscribe to any of it. The proxy simply injected it because you connected through it. There is a subtler risk too. A careless or hostile operator can run a proxy with weak or broken obfuscation, the disguise that keeps your connection from being fingerprinted on a hostile network. If the proxy itself is easy to spot, then using it can flag your connection on exactly the kind of restrictive network you were trying to get past. Instead of protecting you, a bad free proxy can make you more visible, not less. You trusted it to be a shield, and it turned out to be a flag waved over your traffic. Then there is the plain unreliability. Free public proxies vanish constantly. The list you pulled last week is half dead this week, and the one address that finally worked will be gone by the time you actually need it. There is no uptime promise, no accountability, and no one to ask when it dies, because the whole arrangement owes you nothing. If your ability to receive a login code or reach an account is resting on a free proxy from a public list, you have built something important on top of something that can disappear at any moment without a word. Step back and notice the trust inversion here. The entire point of a proxy is to route your traffic through something you trust more than the network in front of you. A random free proxy flips that completely. You have taken your trust away from your own internet provider, who at least you have a contract and a name for, and handed it to an anonymous stranger with no accountability whatsoever. In most cases, that is a worse deal, not a better one. You did not remove the middleman you were worried about. You added a second one that you know even less about. The shared address problem makes it worse. A free public proxy is used by thousands of strangers at the same time, all riding on the same handful of IP addresses. Whatever the worst of those strangers does, the spam, the abuse, the behavior that gets an address flagged, happens from the very IP your account is now using too. You inherit the reputation of the worst neighbor on that proxy, and you have no idea who they are or what they are doing. A clean connection is not something a crowded free proxy can give you, because the crowd itself is the problem. This matters most if you are running accounts that actually mean something to you. If an account carries your business, your community, or anything you cannot afford to lose, a free public proxy is the last place on earth to put it. You do not control the address, you share it with abusers, and it can change or die at any moment. One bad neighbor triggers a sweep, and your account gets caught in it, through no fault of your own, on an address you never should have trusted with something that mattered in the first place. So how do you tell a risky proxy from a reasonable one? Ask a few plain questions. Who runs this, and can I name them? Is it shared with a giant public list, or is it mine alone? Was it handed out in a spammy channel? Does it force a sponsored channel on me? Is there any uptime promise, or anyone to contact when it breaks? If you cannot answer who runs it and why they bother, the honest default is to treat it as untrusted, and to assume everything it can see is being seen and kept. Let me be fair, because not every free proxy is a trap. Plenty are run by decent people as a genuine public service, and using one for a quick throwaway purpose, getting past a block to read something that does not matter, is a perfectly normal thing to do. The mistake is not using a free proxy at all. The mistake is putting something that matters behind one. Match the trust to the stakes. A disposable lookup can ride on almost anything. A real account you care about deserves a connection that you actually control. That word, control, is what a trusted proxy really comes down to. A proxy you can trust is one where you know who runs it, on hardware they actually control, on an IP that is not shared with a crowd of strangers that stays online, and where someone is accountable when it breaks. In practice, there are only two versions of that. One you set up and run entirely yourself, which is real ongoing work, or one you pay a reputable operator to run for you, so the accountability is a name you can reach and not a mystery. Let me be clear about scope, because it matters. Everything here is about protecting a legitimate connection and legitimate accounts, keeping your real IP and your activity away from a stranger you have no reason to trust. It is not about evading a ban you actually earned, and it is not about hiding in order to do harm. A proxy is just plumbing. The only real question is whose plumbing your traffic is flowing through, and whether you would still be comfortable if you knew the honest answer. And here is the catch that sits under all of it. Running a proxy you can genuinely trust, on a clean IP that is not shared with abusers, with real uptime and obfuscation that stays current and no crowd of strangers riding alongside you, is steady, ongoing work that costs real money and real attention. Free proxies save you all of that effort by a simple trade. They make you the product instead. The work does not disappear when a proxy is free, it just moves onto you in a form you cannot see until it hurts. Telegram Vault is managed Telegram hosting on dedicated Singapore hardware, real handsets on real carrier SIMs from Singtel, M1, StarHub, and Vivify. So your accounts live on clean, stable mobile IPs that are not shared with a public list, run by someone you can actually name and reach, instead of an anonymous free proxy that collects your address and disappears the afternoon you need it most. If that is what you need, start at telegramvault.org. Onboarding begins with a real conversation about your setup, not a checkout page, and the code TGYT gets you a discount when you start. If this changed how you think about that free proxy link, from a lucky find into a stranger you just handed your address to, then subscribe, because there is a lot more on running Telegram accounts and infrastructure cleanly coming on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.